My name is Kim. I own and run the Humble Hermit LLC. Come as you are, Oracle. Music Mama 80. I have 2 YouTube channels, a thriving TikTok that's gone semi-viral, an Instagram account, a Facebook account, and a Facebook business account. Last year I was called to tell the story of my life, and I've been putting it off ever since. And now I'm finally telling it on my second YouTube channel, Healing Home First. So, a recap from part 9. I ended things with the man that I was introduced to by my ex best friend's sister at a Labor Day party in 2022. I ended things with him in January of 2023 officially. Went no contact, just like with the ex best friend, and blocked them for a while and then unblocked them when I realized I just didn't give a shit. If they looked at my pages or they looked at my social media, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I think it's weird to look at people's social media when you never really wanted to have anything to do with them in the first place. But whatever, that's just me, I guess. I want to go back to a story that took place, probably 13 years before this happened in 2022. Between me, the ex best friend, and her guy friend that bought me the York peppermint patties for my birthday in 2022. Pardon me. I'm not really sure what year she introduced me to her male friend. Probably like 2008, 2009. I don't know. I'm not too sure. We would have been 28, 29. He's 10 years older, 11 years older, 12 years older, something like that. She met him while going to work in the city, when she was working in the city, and he worked in the city they worked for 2 separate companies, but they would meet on the train. And I wouldn't find out about him until I want to say she had already left her job in the city and had basically retired because she was having health issues and things, and she couldn't keep going to work. She kept having to leave work to go to the doctor and go to the hospital and all that jazz. So she, quote unquote, retired and went on disability. And I didn't meet him until, I want to say, like a couple of years after she started doing that. And what happened was she told me that she was having what she called Friday night dinner and a movie with this man. And I was like, okay, whatever, like, oh, she's like, my in my mind, I was like, oh, she's dating someone. Like, this is exciting. You want your sister to date someone and get married and have a family and whatever. Like, you want them to have a life. So I got excited. And then she's like, oh, no, we're just friends. We're just friends. We're just friends. Okay, fine. Maybe it'll turn into something more. I can still be excited for you. Well, what ended up happening was she brought him up one day when I went over to visit and hang out. And she said that she wanted the two of us to meet. And she said that it was kind of funny. Like, she realized that, like, he was the male version of me and I was the female version of him. That we were alike in a lot of ways. Like, she would ask him a question and he would give her an answer, and she would ask me a question and I would give the same answer. And she said it happened more often than not. So she wanted us to meet. Okay, fine. So I end up going out with them for a Friday night movie and dinner. And he's nice. He's nice enough. He's a nice enough guy. Um to me, it was a little weird at first because I felt like I was intruding. I felt like I was intruding on like their date night. And she kept asking me to go and kept asking me to go. And so I would start going with them to Friday night movie and dinner night, or Friday night dinner and movie, whatever you want to call it. Um like, whenever I was available to go, cuz I at the time I was working in retail, and retail is typically weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um and I had no control over the schedule. I had to work whatever I was scheduled. So I was the assistant manager at the time, but I mean, sometimes I made the schedule, but, like, you know what I'm saying. Like, the schedule was what it was. The schedule's not important. Um, so sometimes I would go with them, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes they would change the date and I would go, sometimes I wouldn't. I don't know when I started to, like, get a crush on him, but I did. I got a crush on him. The York peppermint patty man. So I and I don't even know. This is probably like a year later, maybe, or close to a year later of, yeah, maybe like 9 months to a year, um after I started hanging out with the two of them. um I should also mention that when I say hanging out with the two of them, she would also usually have um one of her personal assistants, like what the person that was hired to take care of her. So it usually was 4 people. But when I told her that I had a crush on him, it was kind of like it was like dead silence. And this is my best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're 28, 29 years old. This is my best friend since the second grade. Like, she knows everything there is to know about me. I figured I might as well tell her I have the crush. That way, like, if she notices it, like, she won't be blindsided. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, like, I'm thinking, nothing is ever going to happen between me and this guy, because there's just there just was never that opportunity for anything to arise, like emotionally. And him and I were never alone together, and I had no idea how he felt. Again, he's a little bit older. Plus, I mean, she told me he was single, lived alone, blah, blah, blah. But, you never know. A man doesn't necessarily tell, like, a friend, a feminine friend, that he's seeing someone else or has a friends with benefits or something like that. So I didn't really know his true situation, and I just figured nothing was ever going to come of it. It's a crush, eventually it'll go away. Well, when I was honest with her and I told her this, it was like a moment of silence. And then she said to me, because we were actually talking on the phone. We were not texting. We were talking on the phone. Pardon me. And she said to me, "Well, I'm in love with him." And the way she said it was like so forceful and with such meaning, like, "I'm in love with him." And I said, "Oh." I said, "Okay." I said, "I didn't know. You didn't tell me." you know, and in someone that's as someone that's highly intuitive and psychic, when she said that to me, my first thought was, "Well, you never fucking told me that. Like, you're my best friend of since the second grade, and you've never told me you've ever been in love with anybody." And my second thought was, and I don't know why I thought this, but my second thought was bullshit. Like, if you're in love with this guy, then first of all, why would you bring me into the picture? Like, you don't need to bring me into the picture at all. Like, I didn't have to be introduced. I didn't have to go out for Friday night dinner and a movie. Like, you didn't need to involve me in that at all. So I said to her, I said, "Okay." I'm like, "You never said anything." And she goes, "Well, I am." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Does he know?" And she basically tells me that she had tried to, like, initiate, like, a relationship. Like, she talked to him, like, told him that she was interested, I guess. And apparently he told her he was not. And I said, "Okay, so if, because again, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, if you're in love with someone and they're not in love with you, why would you keep putting yourself in that position where you have to be around them just because you need to see them?" Like, I would think it would be better to stay away, get over that feeling, and then fall in love with someone else that's really gonna love you for who you are. Like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, well, why would you why would you put yourself through all this, for nothing? I mean, they're friends, but that's not what she really wants, supposedly. That's what she's telling me. So I said to her, I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, the crush thing, I mean, like, it's like, I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, I just wanted to be honest." And she's like, "Okay, fine." You know, and we basically ended the conversation. She was angry. I was I was honestly bewildered. Like, I was floored because, again, like, I tell my best friend everything, but apparently my best friend tells me nothing. So I stopped going to Friday dinner movie nights. And at first, like, she was texting me, like, oh, we're gonna go see this and that, and probably have dinner here. Do you want to go? And I was like, oh no, sorry, I can't. Like, I'm seeing a movie, or no, not that I'm seeing a movie. I'm I'm at work. Like, oh, I got plans at work, or I got plans with another friend, or I got plans with the family. Something. Because I was still living at home at the time with my parents and my brother. So I would just make up some excuse not to go. And finally, I think she got pissed off. And she's like, we're going to see such and such, and you need to be there. And kind of threw down like an ultimatum for me. Well, I was off from work, so I said, okay, I'll come. I'll be there. And when I started going back to dinner and movie nights with her and the peppermint patty man, whatever you want to call him, it was very awkward because she would start to basically, like, downgrade me. And downgrade me, what is it called, degrade me in front of him. Just imply that, like, I'm an idiot, imply that I'm a slut, imply that, like, my job is sucks and it's stupid, and I live at home with my family. I still wasn't driving at the time. I didn't get my license until um her and I stopped talking because of this whole situation. So she was putting me down in front of him, and it was just getting to the point where, like, it was ridiculous and, like, stupid. Like, you have nothing to worry about. Like, I'm not going to do anything. And, that was one of the whole reasons why I was staying away as well. Because, if I stay away and I don't see him, like, the crush will go away. I'll, fi- I'm a 28, 29-year old woman. I'll find someone else to have a crush on. Trust me. So I got really sick and tired of that. And in the spring, Easter came around, and I was going to invite her for Easter just because sometimes, like, at the holidays, it's hard for her being a vegetarian. Like, her family didn't get it. Like, they would make regular food, and nobody would make her anything vegetarian. And the only thing she could eat is, like, like green bean casserole or vegetable casserole or something like that. All she could eat was bread. Like, sorry, I wasn't picking my nose. I was straightening my piercing. Um so I called to invite her, or I texted her to invite her, and she never responded. So the weekend goes on, and I'm trying to, like, get a hold of her. Like, are you okay? Like, did you go to your sister's, or like, what's the deal? And she responds, I want to say, like, it might have been Easter Sunday night, or it might have been Monday. I can't remember. And she's like, oh, she's like, I went to a retreat with the church. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, who goes on a retreat with a church on Easter weekend. Like, isn't the church's focus on Easter service? Like, isn't that like a big thing in every church? Like, why would they have some type of, um, like religious retreat? Like, why would they, why would they do that? Um, I mean, I have my thoughts about that. I have my thoughts about a lot of things having to do with the ex-best friend. There's a lot that I look back on and realize like she probably was just lying. And in all honesty, she was probably lying, and she was probably doing things that I wouldn't even want to know about. I'm just going to be honest. Um so I told her, I said, well, I said, I was trying to get a hold of you. You could have at least texted me to tell me you were okay. And she's like, oh, there was no service. And I'm thinking, there's no service in Illinois or Wisconsin. Like, come on. Come on. I know, like, cell phones in 2008, 2009, like, I'm picturing a cell phone in my mind from then. I get it. But there had to, like, there's no way. Like, if she didn't have service, one of her friends would have had service, her sister. So I said, you know what? I said, I really love you. I said, you've been my best friend for however long. I said, I can't really do this anymore with you. Um, I told her, I said, every time I hang out with you and the guy friend, I said, you treat me like dirt and you put me down in front of him when you do not even need to do that. I said, you're the one that invited me there. You're the one that wanted me there. Like, why would I keep going if you're going to treat me like that? And why would I keep being friends with somebody that's going to treat me like that? So I told her that I was calling it quits. That I was done being her friend. Um, if she ever got her shit together and woke the fuck up and realized what was going on and how she's behaving, give me a call. And I left it at that. And I was heartbroken because, like, I just didn't get it. And again, like, I'm just gonna say it. I don't know that she ever really confronted him and told him that she wanted a relationship with him. I don't know that she ever really had that conversation. What I do feel like was that she was using me. Like, she introduced us because she thought that we were alike. But I think me continually going out with them on Friday nights was her using me to keep him interested in her friendship with him. Even then, when I was in the moment, when I was going to dinners with them, when I admitted that I had the crush on him, when she flipped out and said that she was in love with him, and when she started treating me like garbage, like, even then, I knew that there was something wrong with the whole situation. Absolutely something wrong with the whole situation. And It was probably like, I'm trying to think, because that summer, my mom and I went to visit my grandparents in Arizona, just her and I. And I want to say it was like July or August, but I can't remember for sure. Um, and I texted him when I was down there, and it was just like a joke or like a meme or something like that. And we went back and forth about it. And then he said something like, "I haven't seen you for Friday night dinner and a movie." And I said,